Good evening. Welcome to tonight's edition of Diamond Live, a show where we get to run you through the big stories of the day and also get to speak with the newsmakers. Welcome to the show. My name is Jumwega Chilishe.
My name is Ches Wakapa. So thanks a lot for joining us. We look forward to discussing some of the day's big news stories tonight, and we expect you to call us on this edition of Diamond Live.
Well, you can be also a part of the program by commenting on our social media platform. The stream is live. Our Facebook page is Diamond TV Online. So get to the Facebook page and be able to interact with us on that section. My name is Andrew Mwansa.
Gentlemen, quite an interesting day today has been. Quite a lot to look at that we'll be getting into. Our special guest tonight is the Tonse Alliance Secretary General, Mr. Rafa Nakinda. He'll be speaking with us shortly. Remember, you're always welcome to participate in the show by giving us a call using the number that we'll be showing on your screen. You can also interact with us via our Facebook page, Diamond TV Online, as Andrew mentioned, and quite a lot of issues that are taking place within the political space in the country. The Tonse Alliance itself, the Patriotic Front itself. Yesterday, Mr. Rafa Nakinda was addressing party members at the party secretariat right here in Lusaka, and he spoke towards a number of issues that we'll be following up on.
He was very upset, I should make mention. He was,
on a hot day.
On a hot day, he was very upset. He was even sweating. You could see clearly on his face that the man is upset. And I know when Honorable SG is upset, you could tell. And yesterday, he went, on to the throat of those that are trying to undermine his leadership, those that are trying to undermine the party, but also those that are trying to divide the party. And that's the conversation we're going to be getting into. A lot of allegations leveled against him, ranging from him having collected money for the Lungu funeral, but also him not doing the right thing within the Tonse Alliance. And he says that individuals of that nature won't be tolerated. He says that even those that have presidential ambitions, they must first wait up until the process of the alliance is done. I mean, the party, the Patriotic Front, is done, for them to be able to, fully either campaign or call for those that are campaigning for them to begin to campaign. And so, quite a day it was for him, and he's going to be speaking to us on those issues.
There seems to be quite a lot with the Tonse Alliance, the Patriotic Front. I mean, you've seen quite some videos circulating, others endorsing Honorable Given Lubinda as the sole candidate. So it will be very interesting to see how the opposition mobilize. I mean, we've seen, the likes of Dolly Kabanda, for instance, saying that the opposition now needs to unite more than ever. There has to be a candidate that can take on the UPND in the 2026 election, because there has to be a strong opposition, if you like to put it that way. But I'm not surprised that Honorable Nakacinda was very upset yesterday. I mean, he has been upset before here on air because we've asked him certain questions. I hope he doesn't get upset tonight.
With journalists of your caliber.
If we ask him issues around receiving money, but it's good that he's here.
I'll suggest it, just so I said, has he taken a look at?
But I declare interest. I will not interview him tonight. I would like to categorically state that I will not be part.
I was advising Cheswa to. I was sending Cheswa a few screenshots from Mr. Chirufya Tayali to make reference to, because that's what he made reference to last time, and Mr. Nakacinda did not take that kindly. So I don't know who you'll be quoting this time around.
He was very upset that we had to quote Mr. Chirufya Tayali. But it's a very interesting time to discuss politics.
Speaking of time, let's get started with the show, taking a look at today in a snap. All right, so, gentlemen, I think one of the biggest stories from today is around the Road Transport and Safety Agency, RTSA I tried my best to avoid calling it Ratsa, but I think everyone else does. I know it sounds like a mouthful to say RTSA, but the Chief Executive Officer, Mr. Engineer Emon Mwemba, has been in the news today after a video started circulating.
Audio, actually.
Was rather audio, but people have put it into video form where they attached a picture of him and him speaking towards the recruitment of people at the agency and issues of which part of the country they come from. Let's just take a bit of a listen to this audio that has been circulating. Apologies for that, but what we aimed to play there was the audio that has been circulating and much widely talked about. Several reactions that have come through from it, but for those who have not taken time to listen to it in a nutshell, what we got to hear from this audio is the CEO there speaking towards the recruitment or employment of different citizens into the agency. And according to him, it's been an issue of creating a balance in terms of what country people are coming from. Him being presented with a list that he did not sign on or approve because he felt it wasn't balanced in terms of regional representation. But speaking a lot towards the inclusion of people coming through from originally from Southern Province, Tonga-speaking people, or people who are Tonga by tribe, which has raised the big conversation now, and many accusing him of being tribal with his remarks in that particular audio, and him promoting tribalism.
Well, I don't even know where to start from. When I listened to the audio, I nearly cried.
Really?
I was at the time I listened to this audio. I was with Jonah and Justin, our colleagues from here, and we were quiet when we listened to it. You know, at the time that it was sent to the group, we must put things in context. We didn't listen to it, and then we listened around 19 hours. So we thought, when this issue was circulated on social media, we just thought, it's just people talking. But when we listened to it, you realize that the gravity of what this gentleman was trying to put out there, I think is sad. Many know Mr. Mwemba of being a highly educated person, and I think he's the last person that must champion, issues around, tribalism. Well, I'm told that the picture is now with us. Let's get to hear what he said before we give our comments.
So I issued an instruction with Muna. He got a distinction in mathematics. So I'm number 2. So I asked Madam Chira, I didn't want to interfere. You see, me, I can't interfere directly with the recruitment. So the Amu have Jira that no guy, no, the one who came second, sir, first, sir, is this one. What would you part? So I called after Madam Chira. I said, okay, I called Muna. That Muna. And I'm the one, this guy, I don't know him, but he brought his certificates early this year to me. And then me and Muna, before Chilara started, or everything, me and Muna looked at his CV. It was brilliant. So Muna traveled to recruit for Waganchere. Make sure. So now I'm going to remind him, that's the guy I'd forgotten. So he went there and he sorted it out.
abantu bali bali mu community ya strategic report bandira then abubikamu amaaso bonke banoobikirayo eri amapati banoobikirayo eri amapati tutega omwaka ego mundula good record
The planning and monitoring officer, yeah. Well, what do you...
So, by the way, this is...
We had to cut the clip before Mr. Andrew Mansa breaks down.
and well, what else you guys might be taking to the talk? This is a very big issue for the country. Other countries have bent down because of insensitive people. You know, like
no,
how...
I'm not taking it as a joke.
No.
I think it's right to put it as...
No, but
for me, it seemed that you little bit more sensational.
Well,
you say you almost cried.
No, I almost cried. And then for me, this is a touchy subject because I'm married to a Tonga, you know, and when I was marrying, you know, this woman, I didn't look at tribe. I looked at someone I loved, and we got united and we got married. And even my child, you know, my child today, his name is Malumbo.
He's like me.
Of course. And so when I listened to this, and I'm being honest with you guys, it didn't sit well with me. I don't think tribalism must have a place, you know, in this country.
No, okay, but before we continue, Andrew, because I mean that's your conclusion, right?
Well, I haven't concluded it.
Because you're saying you're speaking about tribalism after this, because even the question is, can we conclude that that's tribalism?
I don't know about you, but about me, I think the way he portrayed, we could have quoted him out of context, but I think listening to the audio and what he was trying to put there, he says that, look, people applied, competent people applied, all right, but when he looked at the names, he said it wasn't well balanced. So he needed a balanced list for him to be able to have those people employed, you know, into RTSA. But for me, I'm thinking if I didn't choose to be Mwansa. I never chose to be Mwansa. I'm Mwansa because of my parents. And so if I qualify for a job in government, and this is what the president speaks about, what is important is that you must be Zambian and you must be competent and qualified, which is competence. And so when Mr. Amon, when Mr. Mwemba was availed with that list, and I think for me, what he needed to do was to employ everyone who the HR recommended that must be employed. Not looking at the names. Okay? I mustn't be worried to work in any office because I'm Mwansa. I'm not Tonga. No. I must be confident enough that if there's an opportunity at the Ministry of Local Government, if there's an opportunity anywhere, I'll be picked, not because of where I come from.
Yeah, but what did you say about diversity? I can see a lot of people on social media say he was merely trying to balance with diversity of having to employ people that come from the eastern province or from the northern province, not to take away from them that they're not competent. They are competent, but they shouldn't be the only people to be employed. This is the context for people. I have my own
So because of
opinion.
diversity, even the people that are incompetent must be incorporated for us to have...
No, but it doesn't mean that there are people, everyone is incompetent.
No, and what I mean is, if you're going to say that, look, a number of people applied, but the competent people only come from northern province. That those that because there's a rigorous process of them coming up with the names. So which means if you've made it to the top 10, it means that you are the best out of the thousands of people who applied. And so because we don't have people who are Tonga, we don't have people who are Lozi there, then we must say no, because we don't have Tonga people here, so then we mustn't pick these people. No, I don't think so, guys.
So it's not fair.
I think it begins with us, the people here. We must speak out in things for what they are. If something is wrong, let's speak it out that this is wrong.
You see where the challenge has been, and this is where it really also takes the whole conversation, right? And we've heard this quite a lot in the recent couple of years. What has come through, and bring it back to this issue of diversity, there are people like myself who have family from different parts of this country. I have family from the southern part of this country, I have family from the northern part of this country. So, you get to hear some of these concerns that come through from different people. And one thing that stands out is under the Patriotic Front government, you had some people who would complain that there would be left out from opportunities because of what they thought was their tribe. And they would see certain people either get promoted or get opportunities because they belong to a certain part of this country and they got those opportunities. We hear some of those concerns from those people. Today, we're hearing the opposite. Some people are also making those concerns, like you've mentioned. Some people are feeling that way, that they are being left out, and they feel that it's because of the basis of their tribe. The argument that also comes through is that those people who were left out before, now is the time for them to have these opportunities that they never had previously. And we continue hearing this particular argument. But I think the broader conversation here should be about issues of merit, issues of...
And that's what the president speaks about.
If it was inclusion as well.
If the Patriotic Front did it, it mustn't be right today that the UPND are in power, that the opposite must happen.
I mean, people have been arrested for tribal talk. I mean, tribalism must not be anywhere engraved in the culture and the values of our country. And I mean, we've seen politicians that have been condemned, and among them is Honorable Chimba Kambulu, for instance, who was largely condemned about tribalism. And no one should have kind words for anything that tries to divide us as a country. And I think for me, what I'm getting out of this is, in as much as the CEO there was trying to promote diversity, I think he has the authority to sign in whoever that qualifies, anyone who's competent. And what's even worse off is that he mentions that there are 2 HRs who are Tonga. And it even gets worse, because if I think the audio had ended to where he says these individuals who are selected do not represent the diversity of Zambia, I think it would have been sort of an arguable situation. But he goes on further to say the 2 HRs are Tonga. So what are you trying to say about the recruiting officers there?
And probably makes the irony, because you have so many of 2 HRs who are Tonga in tribe, and then the list that comes out has of people from a different part of this country, and then you refuse to sign that particular, you refuse to approve that. I think that is now where I think a lot of people have a lot of concern, that even just the whole aspect of you seeing names and putting that into consideration has raised a lot of eyebrows for a number of people here. But I've heard this a lot from some politicians. For example, Mr. Beno Mpundu, he argues that we should have like some sort of a proper discussion as a nation on issues of tribalism and make things clear on what is and what isn't, because the concern is that some people get arrested for some of these things while others don't. It seems it is deemed tribalism when a certain group of people are being mentioned either negatively or what people deem as negatively, and so on, while others, it doesn't come out as such, So I think we really need to have a broader discussion on this, because it's seemingly a cancer that really needs to be done away with as soon as possible.
There's someone, just when I was coming on air, who told me there was a gentleman who was denied a job because his last name was Chilema. And the recruiting officer at a named organization thought that this individual was related to Hakainde Hichilema when he was in opposition. So imagine that kind of culture from way back, and it comes into even this time around, because, there isn't anything about governments. It's just a culture. It's a people.
That's true.
Whether PF, whether UPND, we remain people. There's Tonga people in the UPND, there's Bembas in the UPND, there's Tongas, there were Tongas in the PF, there's Bembas. We remain one country, and I think tribalism must seriously
and shouldn't have a place here in Zambia.
I feel like I can't even apply to certain organizations if their CEOs who are going to look at things like this list is not representing,
then perhaps they must tell us that we need 5 Lozi people, 5 Bemba people, 5 Tonga people, so that people mustn't apply.
Well, gentlemen, in some unifying news, President Hakainde Hichilema has given cash support to worth 10 million kwacha to marketeers and shop owners who lost their goods due to the looting and damage that that happened after the riots erupted in Chingola. If you do remember, not so long ago, we saw some riots in Chingola, and the giveaway did happen where we saw he was represented by different ministers. One of them is the Mines and Minerals Development Minister, Mr. Paul Kabuswe, who was present alongside the Copperbelt Province Minister, Elisha Matambo, and Minister of Commerce, Trade and Industry, Chipoka Mlenga, who were there. And what is being said out of this is that this was meant to reflect the President's unwavering commitment to restoring livelihoods and also to promote peace. And what was also mentioned is violence is never the answer, as government remains committed to finding peaceful and amicable solutions between the communities, small-scale miners, and also the owners of the Senseli mine. So the same way we talk about how tribalism should have no place in Zambia, that's the same core that is happening here when we talk about issues of violence having no place in this country. And you can look at how happy these people are. You can see a woman literally shedding tears because of her getting to benefit, I mean, after this particular loss.
If there are people that I can say have, I think we can put a pat on their back on the copper belt. I mean, that's where there's a lot of issues around livelihood. When you talk about mining, of course, every other part of the country has very critical issues such as mining. But I think we need to give some credit to Honorable Paul Kabuswe, Elisha Matambo, and others for just what they've been able to do in terms of unite. I mean, just here we're talking about how much the people in the mining sector have lost lives. I mean, look at illegal mining. Look at how much illegal mining has engraved this country and how people have died out of illegal mining. And so just sort of trying to talk through how people can sort of unite as a country, I think for me, it makes a lot of sense.
Before we get into the conversation with our guest tonight, who is the Tonse Alliance Secretary General, Mr. Rafa Nakinda, we'll just take a look at the Zambian vote building up to the 2026 election. We do this every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on Diamond Live. And our focus tonight is Chawama constituency, where we go to see winner of this particular election being Tasila Lungu of the Patriotic Front, receiving over 35,000 votes. She was seconded by Potiphar Tembo of the UPND, who got slightly over 20,200 votes. Banda Lasten of the Socialist Party got 382. Mulubwa Isaiah got 262 from the Democratic Party. But this particular constituency, being the constituency that Zambia's sixth Republican president was once member of parliament for, I think a lot of people anticipated this particular win. But was not short of the work being done for the candidate herself, Tasila Lungu Mwansa, who got that 35,492 votes out of the 56,380 votes that were cast. Building up to 2026, to be interesting to see how this will go. We know that right now, still mourning her late father, who's still not been put to rest. And she's been given that time to mourn with her family before she can make her way back here to Zambia and obviously physically attend to issues within the constituency. But it would be interesting to see how this will go, especially that the person that came second in this constituency was sent into diplomatic service, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, but again, to be honest, I think that the PF performed quite well in this constituency. I mean, over 15,000 is quite a good number. I think what Honorable Tasila Lungu now needs to be worried about is, mobilization, looking at how much time there hasn't been, especially out of the unfortunate circumstances that we've had, losing, the former president. I mean, obviously she has not been able to be on the ground and so on. But like you say, it'll be very interesting to see who is going against her. Is she recontesting? It'll be good to also see who from the UPND might be going back in this constituency.
If should be contesting on parliamentary level or maybe
presidential level.
Or presidential level.
We don't know that.
As chairperson of the alliance, possibly, or the PF. But I bet Mr. Nakacinda wouldn't want to hear that because they've put a halt to all things presidential ambitions being publicly shared, isn't it?
Absolutely. For me, one kudos could be given to the father, Edgar Lungu, for having once held this particular seat, and so people might think it was an easy election, in Chawama? I don't think so. I think Tasila Lungu is a strong woman that had been on the ground for a very long time, and for her to garner this number of votes. I'm just looking at the presidential vote here. The person who came out third in the general election on presidential level, Harry Kalaba, got 24,879, and this is way beyond what Tasila got. And so if Tasila stood in this election, should have probably...
Come again with that?
She got way below 35,000. No, Kalaba got way below 35,000.
I'm saying if Tasila stood in this election, she would have come out third in the 2021 general election just by her vote in
what do you mean, Andrew?
In Chawama. The vote at presidential level, Kalaba got 24,879, the entire country. Now, I'm saying if Tasila stood in this election, she would have probably come out third.
At presidential level.
If going by the votes that she's gotten. And so she's still a strong candidate, for the Patriotic Front in Chawama. And I think if she stood again, she'd still give the candidate that she's going to stand against, their run for their money. And so probably the Patriotic Front must consider again adopting her if she wants to contest for Chawama as well. But like what Chimweka said, I don't know where Chimweka is getting this, but consistently you get to bring her as part of the people that will probably be interested in running for office at the highest level.
Her name has been flaunted. Her name has been flaunted.
Yeah,
her name has come up. Unless you're saying you don't come across it anyway.
No, I've not come across it anyway. And that's why I'm saying I've been hearing from you.
Journalists are privileged to information. You're privileged to information, and you can, put out information in any way context might be gotten in.
Gentlemen, we have the Secretary General waiting for us on the other side. He'll be joining us as we continue with tonight's edition of Diamond Live. Remember, you'll be able to also weigh in on these conversations up next.
Morning, school.
Morning.
School, what's in here? There, my son, there is Kawawasha, giving you the courage to face your challenge.
I've got the energy.
Black Panther, coming in 3 flavors.
Umubamabamo watulile ngoma. Consistency enables one to achieve his or her goals. But that responsibility comes with its own challenges.
When that time of the month comes, it's never easy, but I must be ready.
Ukunkala kwangu pano padera, nosebenzera abana. Masiku yanangu, yomvwika bwino. Lomba yakini, mvwika lini bwino.
They say you look after wealth, but knowledge looks after you.
In all my years, as a wife and as a mother,
something always had my back in painful times.
For fevers, headaches, muscle aches, and backaches, the recommendation is
Panadol.
Panadol. Panadol.
Panadol.
Panadol. Pharmanova, saving lives since 1980.
The Diamond TV Personality of the Year Awards are back for the year 2025, celebrating Zambian excellence, creativity, and impact, from music, sports, and film to leadership, social media, and community service. The 7th edition of the Diamond TV Personality of the Year Awards are bigger than ever, with exciting new categories, including Pageant Queen of the Year, Podcast of the Year, Radio Personality of the Year, TikTok Creator of the Year, and Facebook Personality of the Year. Who deserves a spotlight? who deserves a much-needed recognition. Nominate your favorites today from the Diamond TV Zambia website. Then get ready to vote from the 1st of October 2025. So get nominating now. Follow Diamond Media on our social media platforms for more details.
Imagine a big stage, music and lights, people singing and dancing all day and night.
Enjoy all the nutritional benefits of real milk with Maximove flavored milk, rich in calcium, vitamin D, and protein. Let Maxi move you.
Good news, good news. The McKinney Heights team is pleased to announce that we are almost sold out in our third and final phase. With only 30 plots left to sell, we would like to extend our gratitude to all our clients who have supported us throughout phase 1 and phase 2. And to do that, we are giving out 5,000 kwacha off of each plot. Yes, you heard me right, 5,000 kwacha off of each plot. Our plots come in different sizes, 20 by 25, 20 by 30, and 20 by 35. Our plots come as a full package with water, sewer systems, electricity, all-weather roads, and 24-hour security. We also have a very flexible payment plan ranging between 24 to 36 months, and you, our clients, are allowed to build your dream home only after 30% of payment is made on your plot. Please pay us a visit in person at plot 88 off Salim Drive or email us at mckinneyheights@gmail.com. McKinney Heights, home ownership at its best.
Welcome back to Diamond Live tonight. Now, we also do know that one of the conversations that has gotten the attention of the country is what's happening in Malawi, where on Tuesday we did see that citizens, the electorate there, went to the polls, and they now await the final presidential outcome on who will emerge winner. Will it be the incumbent, Lazarus Chakwera, or his predecessor in Peter Mutharika? But back here in Zambia, at the Patriotic Front Secretariat in Lusaka yesterday, PF4, I know he hates this term, Faction Secretary General Rafa Nakinda, did call for unity from the party members ahead of the 2026 general elections. He did emphasize the need for enhanced collaboration among party members, urging them to capitalize on the wind of change that he says Zambians are calling for. And he also spoke about members of the opposition fueling confusion in the party and the Tonse alliance. Mr. Rafa Nakinda joins us tonight. Good evening, and thank you for joining us on Diamond Live.
Good evening, colleagues, and good evening to our viewers. I'm glad that you've given me an opportunity to feature on this platform, so I look forward to an engaging discussion. But I also miss Cheswa.
I don't know why you miss him, because he's just said that he's declared interest in wanting to speak with you because of how he feels. You didn't do justice the last time we spoke to you with him.
It's not about being personal. It's responding to the questions. So if you ask a question that is misplaced, we'll give you the appropriate answer. But otherwise, fantastic fellow. And I look forward to a one-on-one with Cheswa.
I can't wait to watch that interview.
Well, the citizens of Malawi can't wait to find out who will be announced as the ultimate winner of the presidential election over there. But from the results that have been pouring in, we've seen the incumbent's predecessor, leading. What do you make of what's going on in Malawi ahead of the ultimate vote outcome?
I think it's a two-edged sword. What's going on in Malawi is a lesson to both those of our friends who are in government but also a lesson to those of us who are in opposition. But also Malawi has distinguished itself in terms of adhering to some level of democratic tenets. Prior to 2021, Malawi was more or less a mirror of what possibly could happen in Zambia, because historically, Kamuzu Banda was president for close to the same number of years that Kaunda was president. Then there was a push for multi-party democracy in the same fashion and manner that things happened in Zambia. Dr. Chiluba won elections in 1990-91. Bakiri Muluzi also became president in the same fashion. 10 years later, there was an attempt in Malawi for a third term. It was rejected. There was an attempt of a third term here, rejected, and a leadership emerged. Fast forward, things have happened which are totally similar. We're more or less Siamese twins in terms of our transitions and democratic development between the two countries. What is a little bit of an advantage on Malawi compared to Zambia is that they have at least been able to have a former ruling party form government, and they are by curing the aspect of opportunistic politics. So people in Malawi belong to political parties because they believe in the ideology and policy of that political party. In Zambia, we are yet to have that happen, and we are pushing with everything that we have the opportunity in 2026 to have a former ruling party form government, so that this optimism of politicians looking for greener pasture, even when they don't believe in the ideals and policies or philosophy of political party, they'll just join it because it's in power, should come to a stop. If you are PF not because it's in government. You belong to PF because you believe in the ideology and policy of that political party. Because we have not broken the cycle of political parties, UNIP, MMD, now PF, former ruling parties going into oblivion. Everybody believes you have no business with a former ruling party after all. It will go into oblivion. That we need to break.
And it's interesting you say that because, you're an example of somebody who's moved from a former ruling party to a what became you were affiliated to a ruling party and eventually go to join that particular party that is what people would love to believe had different ideologies, beliefs, even getting into the 2011 general election as well. So how different was your case? How different was your situation?
Well, at personal level, I totally, and I don't regret, was so ideologically committed to MMD. I fought, with everything to, first of all, I uphold the integrity of the constitutional arrangement of MMD. It failed because I think the forces within the organization to perpetuate personal interests overall, overcame those of us who felt that we need to uphold principle. It's a subject that requires one particular program. Of course, political sentiments and everything has been said and so on. But along the way, you had to make a personal decision that in the interest of the nation, you have a chance in this political party, because from inception, from when I was young, my first political direct involvement in this country was with MMD. The only other political party that I've joined, due to circumstances that we can discuss later, is Patriotic Front. And I'm hoping that by God's grace and also the indulgence of the Zambian people, our message will be understood that Zambia needs to grow and mature our democracy by having a political party voted out of office because their policies have not been able to satisfy their expectations. And therefore you put them on the bench to go and reorganize themselves and give a chance to another. If the ideological base and policies of the other political party don't satisfy your expectations, you can look at the other Have they been able to learn lessons? Have they sharpened their policies and so on? And then you consider. That way, there's continuity. Our politics will graduate from being personal to become policy-based and ideological-based and so on. That is the greatest achievement that we think from the oppositional perspective, and why I'm passionate about PF getting into government to be able to achieve. Because optimism in politics is detrimental to the development of the welfare of the Zambian people, because we are fighting more at personal level than are we, than us competing in terms of policy, issues and the potence of ideas.
Speaking about people that have been optimistic, let's talk about it. How easy or hard has it been for you to unite the Tonse Alliance and the Patriotic Front? I mean, you are the Secretary General, you are the backbone, you are the CEO, of both the Tonse Alliance, the one that many opposition have hope in to form government next year. But there seems to be fights within the Tonse Alliance from the outside. How hard or easy has it been for you to put the party and the alliance together after the demise of President Edgar Lungu?
Well, I don't think it's really just about after the demise of President Lungu. The question I ask is more general. It's about the maturity of politicians generally, both those who are in the ruling and those of us who are in opposition. It's total immaturity for those who are in the ruling to believe and think that having won elections, then those who didn't make it are the vanquished, they are useless, and therefore they deserve to be bashed. It speaks to the fact that when you win an election, you don't consider that this is a privilege accorded to you, not an entitlement. And therefore you have to reflect, what is it that the colleagues who are in office have been able to achieve positively? And therefore you should be able to enhance or harness those opportunities to improve upon them and even score better than they did. And if there are weaknesses, which are usually pronounced by the electorate, to say, I think we don't like what these people are doing. For PF, it is about cadres. But you can't have people who are condemning cadres, for example, in PF, to even graduate from having PF in the market, cadres in the markets, cadres in the stations. Then you basically transport them, those who are supposed to be, choir members for praise singers in UPND to become speakers of National Assembly. You get people who are supposed to be in the choir of UPND to become chairpersons of ECZ. That's graduating cadreism from being in the market, from being in the station, to basically running institutions, sacred institutions of government that are supposed to, ensure that the rule of law, ensure that the People's Assembly, for example, reflect what it is, the People's Assembly, without stifling and stopping the views of those who represent genuinely so the people in providing checks and balances against the executive. Today, Parliament is a one-sided arrangement. We even have a speaker who wants to propose motions herself, not the executive, not the opposition. She goes round to try and do a referendum when she's supposed to be the empire in Parliament to deal with whatever the opposition are bringing on the executive. How can a speaker come and say we're going to reintroduce Bill 7? That should make you be ashamed. You ashamed, and myself ashamed.
Well, she didn't say she was going to introduce Bill 7. She was given a report of what the chiefs were saying, that from the interaction that she had with the chiefs, they were telling her that they need delimitation, and the only way delimitation would be done, obviously, is how then she brought in the issues of Bill 7.
If she understood her wrong, she would have even said, you have a member of parliament here, don't talk to me. Ask your member of parliament to move a private member's motion over those issues. For me, I am blind to any business to be introduced on the floor of parliament because I'm the empire. So your member of parliament is the one you should talk to. To entertain the subject speaks to the fact she doesn't even know her role.
You have spoken consistently, I think it's the second press briefing that you're having, to call communicate to your members of the Patriotic Front and those within the Tonse Alliance that time for campaign hasn't yet started, and so you mustn't go on and campaign. For a boss like you to speak twice, it means that there's a real problem that your members are not listening to you. Would I be wrong to say Patriotic Front members are undermining your authority as the Secretary General of the party?
No. The energy within the party and within the alliance is such that you have to always remind, people to, cool down. There is this hasty, robust engagement to say we need to find a solution quickly, especially when it comes to leadership, because the pain that the Zambian people are going through in relation to the misgovernance of UPND cannot wait an extra day, an extra week, an extra month. So there is that aggression. And therefore, there must always be an officer to regulate that while there is this aggression, this energy must be, expressed and, manifest within the confines of the rules, first of all, of the club called Patriotic Front, and also, an extra arrangement that we have come into, which is basically the alliance. It can be a situation where these robust debates and robust push of, around the transition, it should just be left, free, to free flow.
Well, and
in every family, as big as Patriotic Front and as robust as Tonse, there will always be overzealous elements that needs to always be called to order.
But where is this hesitance coming from? Because you seem, due to lack of a better term, you and the acting president of the Patriotic Front seem to be so chilled around transitioning to new leaderships that people are going to follow and you beginning to campaign. There seems to be hesitance in terms of you going for a convention and having a new administration in the Patriotic Front.
And that is what I miss Cheswa for. Because when you ask a question as if you are outspaced, it gets me concerned. Because we live in the same environment. You know that we are dealing with certain matters in court, which basically speaks to locals. You understand? And you also know that culturally, even when we have not been able to discuss the fact that we are mourning, you don't expect us as a Patriotic Front to just move on when we have lost our leader, the 60th Republican president, who we have not been put to rest. Unless we are so insensitive and callous that we can just move on because there's a quest to have a new leader. Let's at least be serious about the issues and the environment we are dealing with these matters.
So let's get this clear. Yeah. So, having said that, you're waiting for President Edgar Lungu to be buried for you to proceed with your transition period.
Are matters that we are navigating through. And as a leadership, whether acting president or myself and central committee, have a huge responsibility to navigate the organization, the alliance, and the people of Zambia in this process in a manner that we are culturally right, we are legally right, and we promote the rule of law. The demand we are making is that the judiciary knows that the business of Patriotic Front have been resolved through, an out-of-court settlement, through the reconciliation that has happened between Honorable Mosamp and the group that the other one created. What you are saying we're uncomfortable with, because even to call me faction Secretary General was a misplacement, because we have reconciled. Even when I have always educated you that the group was not even worth calling a faction because it was sponsored by the UPND.
Yes.
But before we go there, we have reconciled. I'm legitimately Secretary General of Patriotic Front as I sit before you here.
And what about Mr. Morgan Ngwana?
Mr. Morgan Ngwana was a product of Mosampa who have reconciled.
So I think my question hasn't been answered. My question, simply put, Bwana SG, you're admitting here that you still have issues in court that must be resolved and you're appealing to the court for them to fasten these issues. So before these issues are resolved and before you bury President Edgar Lungu, may so rest in peace, obviously you'll not be casually right as you are putting it. So will it be right also to say that the convention of the Patriotic Front will only take place when these issues are resolved and when President Edgar Lungu is buried?
No, the question you asked, and I heard you correctly, I may not be very intelligent, but at least I tried to comprehend what people are asking me. You're saying, me and Honorable Rubinda look like we are relaxed, we don't want. I was just trying to say...
So we're past that now. My question is...
No. That was the principal question. And I am saying we desire to have the conference even as soon as tomorrow. But we will not be reckless as to start proceeding in that direction without also looking at the circumstances around us.
Okay, Andrew, so just to write it to that now. So even when we get to that point, or when you as a Patriotic Front get to that point, how optimistic are you that you move in unity going into 2026? Because you have mentioned that there have also been some overzealous people who have misconducted themselves within the party. And this is what the UPND say is a source of confusion within your party, and not exactly them. They refuse to take blame for the confusion that has erupted, even though you, as the PF, strongly insist that they are aiding this.
It's not me.
Who is
Chavinga is a tool of Mr. Kainde. You know it, he knows it, the Zambian people know it. Because the ones who have promoted the misconduct and behavior of Chavinga is UPND, captained by Mr. Kainde himself.
But when you say it's a tool, you need to substantiate that, because that could be just Mr. Chavinga's democratic right to endorse the Republican president.
I'm shocked that a young person will be classifying lawlessness as democratic right.
He's decided to endorse President Hakainde Hichilema. We've seen different political parties that have endorsed a ruling party from the opposition.
He has the right at personal level to endorse anybody, even to disassociate with Patriotic Front. That right we can never take away from him. But he doesn't have the right to impose his personal view on the organization, which organization has said, no, you are on your own. And therefore, the rule of law, and which we all must be adhered to, is that a club is governed by its own constitution. And the constitution of Patriotic Front has been violated. So when we discuss Chavinga, don't discuss him in a casual manner. Mr. Hakainde Hichilema has been trotting this country with Chavinga around to try and promote him as this best friend he has, who will be able to help him to, through his Mingarato, he has publicly pronounced, to be able to defranchise Patriotic Front and never appear on the ballot. 2 days ago, I deliberately went to the launch of the ECZ, of the electronic registration of voters, only to go and face Madam Zalomis, who's a UPND cadre, to go and sit in their launch as a way of saying, I am the legitimate Secretary General of Patriotic Front, and on behalf of PF, I've come to sit here to tell you that you have no right as an empire to determine who plays the game. The empire is not the one who chooses players on the, among the teams that will play the game, in this case, elections. You can't tell us that PF does not deserve to feature a candidate because Mr. Hakainde Hichilema has fallen in love with Chavinga. That is the message I took that side. And even when we are discussing here, we must discuss these issues in context. Chavinga should not even become a subject at the national level in view of the fact that this is a misfit, a society misfit in relation to promoting democracy, the rule of law.
Nakacinda, at the same time, you know very well that even when it comes to issues of documentation, what's at the registrar of societies, the position is quite different from what you as the other group of the Patriotic Front are saying. So how then do you reconcile this to everyone else and make people understand that you are the legitimate group of or leaders rather of the Patriotic Front?
Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, Jack Mwimbu, and other critical stakeholders know that the change of office bearers from the 24th of October 2023 up to the subsequent change of office bearers was undertaken in a criminal manner. Nobody should be proud of that. You, the three of us, and the Zambian people are listening to what we are discussing today, should be proud of people like Madam Mende, who was registrar at Registrar of Society, who decided to be professional, even to the detriment of her staying in that office. She was hounded out of that office because she said to the powers that be, I cannot compromise my professionalism. What Mausampa and this group are presenting that falls short of any, element of adhering to the constitution of Patriotic Front, and therefore cannot effect a change change in office bearers, because the so-called conference is illegal. And she was, brutalized, removed. We don't even know where she is, and all of us must be concerned about her affair.
We must get the
Chavinga, to even be said to be an office bearer, is criminal. And I'm using the word criminal.
The UPND have argued that when you talk about this and say that they've been aiding the confusion within the party, they've argued that they've been in opposition for a very long time, and they've also been in situations where you as a Patriotic Front, at least at that time, were able to get some of their members, but it never reached a point where you had one individual who would destabilize the party. And they argue that because they had a different caliber of people within their party, and therefore what is going on now is us out of your own members not being able to conduct themselves properly, therefore leading to the confusion that has erupted within the party.
I agree with one session that they seem to be admitting that there are some members who are not conducting themselves properly. But the good thing is that when we were in government, we were not criminal-minded to take advantage of those who are misconducting themselves in UPND to a point of using institutions of government and abusing them to change office bearers. If we did what the UPND is doing now, Misaka and HLM would not have participated in any election. The issue at this particular point is not the conduct of political individuals who could have had the Chavinga parroting praises and endorsement of Aka in the HLM without the executive, in this case, exerting so much pressure to a point of removing people in office and firing them because they want office bearers to be changed. What is fundamental that should worry you, worry Mr. Mwansa, is the fact that outside the dirty politics that people have chosen to play, the UPND have also chosen with impunity to polarize and destroy institutions of government and the Registrar of Society, to force them to go and change office bearers. Personally, I've gone to PSC's office, I've gone to Jack Mwimbu's office to challenge them because Jack Mwimbu claims to be a lawyer. I said, you have even been crowned with a position of state counsel, not a paralegal. How is it that you can allow such a thing to happen under your watch as Home Affairs Minister when you know that this is...
Still on that, Mr. Nakacinda, you have reconciled with Mr. Mausampa, who you've mentioned on several occasions is a root cause of this confusion with the 23rd October convention that you say was a scam. But Mr. Mausampa has on several times denied being sponsored by the UPND, and to this day he's never publicly at least mentioned that he was being sponsored by the UPND. So then, how do they still come back in this picture when the man who you say is the root cause of this still hasn't admitted of being sponsored by the UPND?
He has denied being sponsored by UPND, but he has accepted the fact that the UPND took advantage of that illegal arrangement. Because even prior to that event, we knew that the UPND were scheming, and Misaka in the HLM pronounced on the copper bet that he was going to use Mingarato, which you must admit, because you know it is on record, that is going to be, whilst people are moving like that, you pass back and hold them by the neck. I'm sure you heard those pronouncements. And that was prior to the October 2023 pronouncement we had made as the Patriotic Front that we're thinking that we can have a conference by October or November, but we didn't put a date. Then Sampa indicated that he was going to have a retreat in October, on the 24th of October and so on. When he had that gathering, eventually converted into something he himself lost control of. Police were sent to go and guard him. He even had personal police. By the time he was realizing that he has been captured, it was too late for him to reverse, because in PF, he had already been labeled as, this surrogate who has been used by, UPND. In UPND, they have provided police escort, police protection. They are moving pieces without him having control. His fingerprints are picked from his house and others, and they pick fingerprints within few hours. They have been cleared. Change of office bearers. Mrs. Mende refuses to change office bearers. She's kicked out. Things were moving in a supersonic speed. To return to the house and say, no, I didn't mean this, it was too late. So that situation only speaks to the fact that we have a criminal setup that unfortunately has found itself with the instruments of power in government and have demonstrated in many ways than anything through Mao Sampa that they are ready to defranchise the opposition given an opportunity. Even now, as we wait for the judiciary to resolve this issue, the sentiments that are out there, including in UPND, they tell us in our face, forget EPF, you will never get it back. Where are they getting the audacity and authority to tell us we will never get PF back? Yambani chabe kupanga ma plans enang, otherwise PF sitakampasan. How come they seem to have this authority to tell us that the PF will never get back to us when the dispute is supposed to be resolved through the judiciary? And I am saying here, with every iota of authority and understanding and experience as a politician before you to the Zambian people, that these politics that the UPND are playing are also becoming a danger to the peace of this country. You can never, stifle, sit on the rights and freedoms of people to a point of, stopping or preventing the main, opposition political party from participating in an election and think you're going to be peaceful. What guarantees peace in a nation is giving the citizen an opportunity to ventilate their wish and expressing their will. If their will is not supported by the majority, so be it, because you have the legitimate mandate to become, to be in government. The UPND are courting trouble. That's why I'm challenging Mwangala Zanomis. She is in the evening of her life. Let her not go to the grave having touched this country because of her being partisan as the chairman of the ECZ. Misaka Ndechilema will not be president for life. He only enjoys 5 years. In 2026, he has to be evaluated, considered whether he can continue or not. And to that effect, the 4 years that he's been in office, he has done everything possible to try and prevent the main opposition from participating in elections. And that is wrong. It's a risk and a threat to the peace of this country. And I'm appealing to his conscience, including the conscience of you young people who are, interviewing me today. This is our country. If this country is touched, you will not sit here with this wonderful, swine you're wearing and jacket and a capolo neck to interview me. It will take all of us taking responsibility to make sure our democracy thrives and people participate.
Now, Mr. Nakacinda, still on the issue of the confusion. Others would argue that it's now the nature of the Patriotic Front. You attract it because now we're seeing this happening within the Tonse alliance. It's gone from a party level to an alliance level where there's back and forth between you and some of your alliance partners. We've seen some of them who have expressed concern about the leadership of the Tonse alliance and who exactly they endorse or not. But how then do you reconcile that even at alliance level? Because this issue is still there. You're still having your internal wrangles.
You must separate fundamental issues and preferences about leadership. You cannot debate preferences of who somebody likes or think can be a leader and mix it with the debate on fundamentals in terms of how political parties must participate and the rule of law. those must be separated. If you want us to discuss those who have endorsed that one and so on and so forth, we know that in a process where you are choosing a leader, people have preferences. The only thing and call we are making is that those preferences, keep them in your heart, is your democratic right. They are rules towards the election of a leader in Patriotic Front. We haven't opened it up for people who have, some of them have already publicly, even by paying, expressed that they want to be considered for leadership. But the campaigns have not been opened up. Any declaration that now this is the date for the conference, now the campaigns are open up, it will just lead to dividing the organization. That's the argument. Even in Zambia, we all want to support somebody who go to State House. But there is an local code of conduct which regulates how you conduct yourselves. So the Secretary General is insisting passionately, sometimes maybe even looking too and extra emotional, because if we do anything prematurely in a manner that begins to destroy the organization, even the opportunity that the one who's aspiring to be president is seeking for, you find that it has been taken away because we have carelessly managed ourselves towards the process of electing a leader. There are some among ourselves who believe that no, it's just politics. They even, some of them, want to plan whether at Parliament, among members of Parliament, among councillors, among mayors, among our structures, who feel that they are more powerful, more entitled, that they can force the so-called candidate they have on the party at all costs without being sensitive to the environment we're in. That's why, by God's grace, I am privileged to be Secretary General, to be the lever, to be able to call people to order and say, no, that's not the way we're going to go. We're going to crash. And I'll do it for as long as I'm Secretary General, knowing with all my conscience that I have to help this party, the alliance, being together. After all, the business of PF is just one aspect within one corner. The Zambian people also demanded that you need to find a way to galvanize other opposition political parties so that you can work together, because they want everything, first time right when we go to the elections. So the work we are doing is multifaceted. It may not be understood by everybody at first instance, but I will not be able to respond to your emotional outburst or misguided zeal and be able to direct things in that manner. I have a duty to call you to order, to explain to you if you are willing to listen. If you are incorrigible, we'll discipline you. That's the only way we can go.
For your supporters across the country that don't know the way forward, update us and the nation, Honorable Nakacinda, on the status of the Patriotic Front. Obviously, you've done the out-of-court settlement with the parties involved. So when are you going to court, and what is expected from there?
From what the lawyers have briefed us, we possibly are waiting for another week or some days before we can be able to, have the final decision made. But we know that the courts, either by perception or reality, are under pressure. Namusho ba chimweka na ba mwansefile chitika. Nga mwaranda na bakapokona bali bachita intimidate. Mwachiralanda before this program about tribalism, for example, you have somebody at the RTSA openly discussing about the recruitment of the staff at RTSA to be considered based on tribal consideration. There are people who have been victimized, banked at cabinet office purely because they carry a particular name and associated to Patriotic Front. The environment we are living in now is so toxic that there are very few, even journalists, who have the courage to question government and government officials on pertinent issues. You have to simon, your courage twice as much to try and even ask me pertinent questions. But I can just imagine if it was Nakinda seated here, possibly he has to give you the questions you have to ask him. The environment we are in is toxic. and also inimical to the growth of our democracy. And we sympathize with you. The reason why I have so many cases on my back going to court every other day is because we have chosen, even against all odds, to speak for justice, the rule of law, speak for the judiciary to be left alone, speak for parliament to be left alone, speak for ECZ and the police to be left alone. And as you do so, they even go to an extent of enacting a law to even, further restrict our freedom of expression.
Your quick comment as we conclude. The president did address the nation on Friday during the fifth session of the 13th National Assembly. What's your general overview of what he had to share with the nation?
For him to have spent over 3 hours trying to explain and brag about what he has achieved is because he's a fantastic failure.
What do you mean?
He is such a flamboyant failure. He's such an awesome failure.
By sharing his successes?
By sharing.
Under his regime? Because that's what he was doing.
By sharing all manner of rhetoric, repeating the promises that he has failed to fulfill.
As well as numbers. He shared numbers. He shared figures of the achievements made in various sectors.
For him to have actually spent sleepless nights demonstrating that he's preparing a speech. He was actually saying to Zambian people, I don't have what to say, but I have to cook some figures and a story to tell. Because a person who has achieved requires only possibly...
No, but he made reference to what is actually there, the tangible success stories.
Perhaps maybe what rhetoric, maybe give us one rhetoric that he mentioned that you think and feel is rhetoric.
To suggest that in the last 40 years, of the history of this country after independence, UPND is the only one that has made tangible investment in the NH sector. Is that true? What investment have they made? Because from 1975 or thereabout, the only other political party and government that has made tangible and significant investment in the NH sector in terms of power generation is Patriotic Front. Through the Kafue Gorge Lower investment to a tune of $2.something billion.
But he says it's through alternative sources of energy.
The alternative sources of energy that he was boasting, he has done nothing except to go and commission the solar plants that PF left under Edgar Chagonu, and he had no decency to even accept that these are projects that were left by Patriotic Front. What Nakacinda Hichilema has done so far is actually building Petra trains in Kwacha constituency which are not even functional because they haven't even been able to connect water recirculation facilities that are supposed to make those Petra trains functional. Yes, he has sunk 1 or 2 boreholes in constituencies under his name. That is what we can attribute to him. He has built no school.
The debt restructuring at 92%.
He has built no school. That's what is tangible. Under CDF, a few constituencies have seen 1x3, 1x3 classroom blocks. They have annexed in terms of maternity wards, which were not even requested by Minister of Health, and therefore they don't have facilities and so on. I am a GDP, and all this, the rhetoric of Musokotwane and Nakacinda Hichilema. That's an IMF rhetoric which Zambians do not even relate to. So to try and draw me into figures about debt restriction, which debt restriction? To remove Congole. What has UPND done? He came from Paris, even organizing civil servants to receive him at the airport to say we've restructured the debt, only to discover it's all rhetoric. I mean, give us a break. 4 years down the line, same story.
Mr. Rafa Nakinda, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you very much and good evening.
All right, thank you as well for joining us as well in tonight's edition of Diamond Live. Remember, we're here every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 21:15 hours to 22:30. This is where we end our show for today. Thank you for watching. My name is Yumwega Chileshe.
My name is Andrew Monson. On behalf of our guest, Honorable Rafa Nakinda, and our co-presenter, Chesoka Pasa. Thank you so much for watching. See you again on Friday at exactly 21:15. Good night.